Hey, 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 you're listening to Friday's Flavor with New York's finest business bee, Jolene D. Every Friday, we're digging deep with business owners, non for profits, and entrepreneurs alike, bringing you the hottest tips and topics on the business world. You know what they say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. So tune in and get ready to grow, my busy bees. Welcome to Friday's Flavor, everybody. Today we are talking to Michael Roach from Michael Roach Creative. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I love it. He used his whole name because why not? Everybody, this gentleman is an expert in marketing. We're going to get down about what's up in marketing right now. A lot of you business owners out there are looking at your prospects and maybe feeling a little negative. We want to bring some positivity to that conversation. I'm sick of hearing about all the problems. Let's talk about what you should be doing in terms of solutions. So, Michael, give
Yep.
me a good idea of what got you into this industry. What was the beginning of Michael Roach Creative?
Oh yeah, that's a really good question. So the beginning of it was just kind of looking at my career in totality and noticing how I kind of started as a visual creative, visual communicator, as a graphic designer, moved into technology as a developer, coder, and then trying to look at the other next phase, the next piece, and that was looking at business in general, the business community, the marketing practice of marketing, that field, and seeing how I could use all those things, tie them all together. And that's what kind of made me start my consultancy.
That's great. It's so important what you do because a lot of people get into business doing and for very good reason because they're good at something. And that once they get into starting that business, let's say it's they're a baker or they're a plumber, they get into it because they want to do baking and plumbing.
Yeah.
And then they don't realize when you start that business for yourself that there's this whole other field going on that they have to now learn how to navigate, which is
Mhm.
marketing, promoting themselves, telecommunications. How am I finding customers? Where do I find these customers and how do
Yeah.
I draw them in? Because it's easy to say I'm really good at this one thing and I want to do it, but to find customers to serve is another story. And
Yes.
so what does a typical day look like for you?
A typical day, that's a really good question. A typical day is a day of learning about my customers, learning about the marketplace, learning about the trends that are happening, and seeing how you can leverage some of those things that are, happening. So I'm always trying to absorb what's going on in the marketplace. So I kind of see myself as a lifelong learner, and I just feel like if once you stop learning, you just close yourself off. You become stagnant. But learning is kind of what keeps me going, gets me excited on a day-to-day basis. So I'm reading, also connecting. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, not too long, but I
It's
do.
hard. It's
It is
hard.
hard. It is hard. It is hard. Um, so, I mean, a lot of people are, thumbing through in their feeds and looking at Instagram posts. I do look at Instagram. I'm looking at all different kinds of channels, but my goal during my day is connecting with people in the community, networking with them, having conversations, not necessarily to make a sale or sign up a contract, but starting the basis of that relationship and introduction, and then having some small mini conversations and seeing how it could be of value to people. Um, Other things that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, like doing client work. I got to do that, right? Um, so I'm writing content for the web, doing graphic design, working with some freelancers that I have, working on some projects for the firm, um, and just providing some guidance to folks in the business community, my clients, um, here, folks in the capital region, across the state, and even folks of all ages. I've been doing a lot of stuff with startups, young entrepreneurs who are trying to find their voice and see what they can do as a business and then grow it. Starting something from a very basic idea and say, wow, can I turn this into something that can support myself and my family, or so working with youthful entrepreneurs up to all ages. And so that's kind of some of the things that my day consists of.
You sound busy, because I love that, learning constantly, because I mean, I've said this before I've heard people say, oh yeah, I know all about that. I don't need to hear more about this subject or that. And I'm like, man, you're stuck. You don't even know it and you're stuck. We're never done learning, collaborating, reading. Just read on, because especially, and I think especially in your field, because there's constant changes in the market that you have to consider, the climate you have to consider, and technology changes all of the time. So you kind of have to keep up on that stuff. And I think that's great, constantly learning. What
Yeah,
is
you
what
make a good point too, about everything moving so fast. I think it's it's the thing that keeps the business world exciting. I mean, I think in some cases I'd like things to move a little slower, and then you can kind of track things and spend more time and run some experiments. But it is about moving fast.
It is. It honestly grows exponentially all the time. I'm more and more amazed about what technology can do, and where it's headed, and I am always thinking about how it's going to change the
Mhm.
workforce, how it's going to change people's view on business in general, or how to do business. Things like some of the AI even that we work on at my company at Dirad. I always look at it and I'm like, man, this thing could eventually, once it's programmed properly, this could like replace a receptionist almost completely, with the exception of it not having a face or a body.
Right.
You know, so it's a super fast-paced environment when you're in marketing, sales, things like that.
Yeah.
What is your take on businesses advertising right now in this climate, during this time?
I would say that my take is approach all things with sensitivity. I mean, you're approaching things with sensitivity, before, when last year, right, and but now even more so.
Yes.
Um, the messages that you're putting out there, the words that you use, there's power in words. Things like family mean a lot now,
Yeah.
even more so. The words uncertainty, some of these words are coming up more and more in commercials. Just turn on the television for 25 minutes or half an hour, and you'll see the mention of being together, unity, people, hardship, recovery. And sometimes it seems like, wow, this is one gigantic commercial, but those are the things that people are thinking about. So it's in the moment. And I think that's what's, in terms of being sensitive, I think that's what we need to be thinking about in terms of advertising. And also, just looking at what you've been doing. If a company's been doing advertising, for a number of years, if they usually put out like a summertime, campaign, and maybe this time to evaluate that before it goes out, because it's not in tune with what's currently happening.
Yeah, this summer's going to be different, folks. Not
Yes.
sure if you knew that.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be different.
Yes, absolutely.
Can
So yeah.
can good marketing save a bad product or service? This is a deep question.
Yes, it's certainly a deep question, and I love this question, and it's a debate that happens a lot when it comes to businesses and marketers, the advertising world. Marketing, advertising can help extend conversation of that product in the marketplace. But in the end, the consumers, you know, they're very bright. Consumers are intelligent. They pick up on how maybe poorly the product was created, or if the service let them down in a way. And no product or service is perfect, and no product or service meets everyone's, you know, satisfaction, sure. But if it's causing harm, or it's a, you know, completely defective, consumers will sense that out, and you know, it will get their attention, but marketing won't save it in the long run.
Yeah, consumers have never been more informed than they are today,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I don't think that 50 years ago, people, you know, could research a company, the product, the service, like they can today, for sure. And that has changed the way that you have to market things. It's changed the way that you have to approach sales if you're in a sales industry of any kind. I don't know if you recall that. Do you remember the baby carriers thing that happened back in the, I think it was the 60s or the 70s? There
Oh.
was a company that was selling baby carriers door to door. The, you know, baby carrier, little, what is that called? I can think of the word in Spanish and not
So
English.
it's like
Baby
a
carrier.
sling or something?
No, like a little push, the little push carts. The, what is the strollers?
Strollers, yeah.
The baby strollers. So this company was building these baby strollers and selling them house to house back in the 60s, 50s or 60s. I'm going to have to look this up afterwards and edit it. Watch, there'll be a little blurb, guys. And
Disclaimer at the bottom though.
yeah, right. Don't take anything I say seriously. Disclaimer. And so this company was selling baby carriers, these strollers, house to house,
Mhm.
with salespeople were doing, you know, territories, little neighborhoods, and selling these baby carriers. And of course, at that time, there was no Google reviews. They were very slick salespeople, made it sound like it was the best thing on the market, and the thing costs like $100, which back in the 50s or 60s
Yeah,
was a huge sum of money.
yeah,
And
big
people
money.
paid it. People
Right.
paid it because it's for their baby, and if everybody wants to have what's best for their child.
Mhm.
And these carriers were trash.
Mm.
They broke, the babies got harmed in
Oh,
these
good.
strollers, and that's when they started regulating
Mhm.
salespeople, and I think that's when you know, things like Consumer Reports started becoming popular, and it kind of initiated the consumer, you know, research age, where people
Right.
wanted to know about the company ahead of time, because so many people got screwed on these strollers hardcore.
Yeah.
They couldn't return them, they couldn't get exchanges, they couldn't get replacements. The people would have just shown up to their house, sold it to them, taken their cash and run, basically.
Wow. Yeah.
No follow-up. It was terrible. So I'm going to have to look into it. But that, you know, that's one of the things that make your comments make me think of, like, can marketing and sales, you know, save a bad product or service? They can certainly sell them. It won't keep them in business very long,
Right. Yes,
especially in the
exactly.
age of Google reviews.
Right. And it's also like how people shop these days on, you know, going to any retail store, even shopping for electronics as an example. People
Yep.
go into the store with their phones and they're looking at the price that's on the, you know, the sticker, and they have their
Hmm.
phone in their hand. They're shopping while they're shopping. So,
And it's almost like their first touch with any sort of product sale. If you're going to go camping, one of the first things that you do is you Google
mhm.
camping gear, places to camp. That's, I mean, it's like the first thing that I'm not going to sit here and give you statistics, but I want to say the majority of consumers nowadays, one of the first things they're doing is grabbing their phone and Googling the product, service, or interest that they have.
Yes.
And so it's a huge tool, and also could be your downfall if you have a poor product, service, something going on. You don't sell bad baby strollers.
Yes, indeed. And I want to make another point too, about, you know, reviews and, you know, content coming up when, you know, someone's doing a search. And what you said made me think of it. Like, if any business now, if they don't create any data, they don't put any data out, content out, or they don't publish anything, if someone has a negative review, that negative review, that content that was just created about their business. So if they
It's like
don't,
the only thing there.
yeah, and if you create content that's really good and gets people talking about your company in a really positive way that and builds up reputation, then you can kind of push some of those negative reviews down in search engine results. So that was another thing that came to my mind when you're talking about Google.
Yeah, it's a huge tool and a huge barrier depending on what you're doing.
Yes.
What marketing approaches should businesses be looking into right now?
Wow, there's so many different things out there, right? Certainly, if I think it really depends on the business. Let me start there. If you're like an e-commerce business, or you're mostly technology related business, things like chatbots, some sort of automation makes sense especially for that type of audience that's used to dealing with technology, dealing with maybe wants a quick response. There are other industries that want quick response too. So, and it might be relevant to use like some sort of chatbot technology, which I remember you covered in a previous
Yes.
segment.
That's one of the things that the company that I work for develops. They create what's called, we don't call them chatbots because chatbots they used to be, that's almost synonymous with how they used to be, which was very clunky. You had to have a person behind it to create the answers, or if it was automated, it didn't really understand you.
Right.
But nowadays we call it intelligent virtual assistants at our company.
Uh,
And it's almost like we can create an Alexa that's made for your business. It answers all of the questions related to your business. It can set meetings, appointments. It can take phone calls sometimes if you've got it synced up with your phone call system. If that's something that anybody's interested in, they can always reach out and ask me about it. But that's very true, and I'm seeing a huge
yeah.
influx of those inquiries recently. Lots of companies asking us to do bot demos, IVA demos, and
Mhm.
IVR demos as well.
Right.
So, yeah, in e-commerce especially. What other kinds of marketing approaches should businesses look into?
Right. So yeah, definitely that, especially if you're thinking or have a business that does a lot of customer care. Social media, being active on social media, it's a really good idea. If you might occasionally do some sort of paid social media campaigns, that might help you reach an audience that you're not normally getting.
Right.
So other kinds of things, thinking about maybe certain kinds of platforms, maybe LinkedIn, if you're a B2B, uh,
Yes. I was
and
going to say
yeah,
I'm in B2B, and Facebook is great for branding, but in terms of reach for the kind of folks that we want to talk to, it might not be the best. But LinkedIn,
mhm,
you can elaborate on that. It's a fabulous tool.
yeah, and agreed. And you don't have to necessarily be purchasing ads on LinkedIn.
No,
Uh,
yeah.
right. You can be doing things like if you have, staff can be sharing things like blog posts to the company
Mhm.
website, or even if your staff or the thought leader in the company, they could be writing articles and publications within LinkedIn, or even the company page. If you have a company page on LinkedIn, that is like another place that you can be really putting some good information out there that could potentially magnetize, your ideal customers, your ideal clients.
Yeah, that's very interesting that you say that. Is there something that businesses should be doing right now to learn what consumers are saying, or what, trends are happening in the marketplace?
Yeah, they definitely should be doing some form of social listening.
What's
And
social listening?
yeah, so I'm gonna be it's listening on social media, of course. No, seriously. Um, no, really, it is taking putting in just to see what people are saying out there in terms of the conversations that they're having with one another on social. some of the things people are posting, things that they're engaging with, they're liking, or things that they're sharing. And yes, you can do this manually. It,
That sounds
it,
time
it
consuming.
is, it is, but
Wow.
yeah, it is time consuming. But there are a number of tools out there that can help you do it, um, automatically. You just have to put in some criteria. Let's say you want to look for people talking about your brand, your company name, or your industry, or your competitors, and maybe some sort of sentiment around that. I'm unhappy about, this kind of thing, and you'll get some insights that will help you market your company better, market your products and services better, or even, find a way that you can get a competitive advantage on, some of the other folks in the marketplace. But if you can also do this, like I said, manually too, and it doesn't really have to take up a whole lot of time. You just want to do it enough so that you can get some insights to help you move to the next point of, a marketing effort.
Or we could just hire Michael Roach. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, that sounds like so much work. So I find social media, I mean, it's fabulous for certain things. It's also a time killer when you need to be doing things like business development, content creation. I mean, it ends up being so much of your time taken out of your day, depending on what your position is. And I mean, if that's the only thing that you have to do all week, fabulous. But if you've got to talk to clients, you've got to service individuals, keep your current clients happy, marketing can really, it's something that I think makes sense to outsource. And speaking of which, let me just quick show you guys Michael's website. This is fabulous. He's got this great site, michaelroachcreative.com. He's got some incredible solutions available, including a digital marketing competitive analysis report, strategy sessions. You can do social media management with Michael Roach. He can do workforce development training. I mean, let's just take a look at his stuff that he's got here. He can do content marketing, images, video, sound. That's huge. All of this stuff, the editing, that's a time killer for a lot of people. And then he's got an amazing Facebook page here. Oh, look, my friends have to message me right now. And he's very active on here, tons of information, lots and lots of resources to help you grow your business, reach more clients, and just be more effective. I think it's so much more effective to work with a marketer who's skilled in those areas, because yeah, we can like manually kind of trudge through. I can make LinkedIn content. That doesn't take too much time. But then when it comes to like the branding, making sure it's consistent across the board, somebody like Michael Roach is definitely the approach you want to take, because that's all they do. They're experts in it. And I always think collaborating with somebody who's an expert in that area is a worthwhile investment versus you trying to trudge through and kind of do it on your own. And you were talking about doing things like a summer campaign. This is not something that you have to always pay tons of money for marketing. You can, right before your busy times and seasons is when I notice a lot of people will do marketing campaigns with professionals like yourself to help bring in and expand that funnel of leads, expand that reach before their busiest season. And then they do it again right at the end of their busiest season to try to extend it out. And I don't know if that's an approach you've seen a lot of businesses take, but it's something that I've seen some of my clients and friends do in business. What's your take on that?
Oh yeah, if you can add some sort of order or anticipation to, your calendar, your schedule, I'm all for that. I create tools like social media content calendars, and I give them away for free. for anybody that can use it, so that you can kind of organize the messages that you're going to say ahead of time, and you can post that. And some of that can be driven to maybe blog articles that you're, creating, so that your marketing machine can kind of work with uh, as little, I don't want to say as little effort, but with as many little hiccups as possible. And so we can add a little bit of predictability, not full predictability, of course, but you don't want to have like a marketing explosion happening, and you're losing marketing share, you're losing customers, or some sort of, oh, I didn't realize that was happening. You want to be certainly prepared for it.
Absolutely. And I think what a mistake I'm seeing a few people make is that they're kind of pulling back on marketing.
Hmm.
But let's little trade secret here, guys. If you own a business, right now is a perfect time to market, because other people are pulling out. Your voice is going to be all that much louder at this time. And so it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake to pull out of the marketing side of business right now. I think it's time to double down on those efforts. I've said
Yeah.
it before. This is not the time to get scared. Scared money don't make money. Everybody knows. Okay. So it's scary right now. A lot of people have uncertainty. Nobody likes uncertainty. Everybody likes to have numbers, analytics. I know what I'm going to get out of this. And I
Hmm.
think there's this sort of uncertainty right now that's been unprecedented. We don't know when we're going to get back to the normal. We don't know what the new normal is going to look like. So I understand that, but it'd be a mistake to pull out of the marketing side of things and let somebody else, a competitor, get get everybody's attention.
Right. Yeah, I totally agreed. And it's also too, if you don't have to create, if you don't necessarily want to say that you're trying to get a sale right now, or you're not about sales right now, you can still talk about being, just trying to be, create some sort of brand awareness for what you do. Just letting people know that you still exist,
Yep.
around, you're available, you're there for them. And I think if you're not talking about sales or discounts or and things like that, letting people know that you're here is also a good message, so that when things do get a little bit more settled, that there's still a little bit of top of mind awareness for what it is you do in terms of your business.
Yeah, you want to be the name that's on the tip of their tongue when they're thinking about, I need this particular service, product, thing. You
Yeah.
you want to be the company that comes to mind.
Mhm.
I saw a gentleman who was doing the funniest thing too. He was sending on LinkedIn messages of himself with a coffee cup, like Zoom coffee.
Yes.
Do,
Yes.
do
I
you
know
know
who
who
that
I'm
is.
talking about?
Oh yeah, I know exactly who that is.
I love him, Leo Quinn. We're gonna drop your
Yes.
name. We're dropping your
Yeah.
name, Leo. He's
Yeah.
fabulous.
I was chatting with Leo, and he sent me one of those, and I said, "Wow, I'm going to totally borrow that." And I started using it. I used it just a few days ago, and I got immediate response.
It's funny. It's
It's
like
funny. Yeah.
being different, and it's okay right now to market in a goofy way because people are in terrible moods. Okay.
Yeah.
They're in terrible moods. They're
Yeah.
not, they need a laugh. People need
Yeah.
you to be goofy and out there. It's not a bad idea to do something a little different than you have in the past right now.
Right. And if people don't respond, don't take it personal.
That's it.
Maybe the time is not right, or and you can still always ask how they're doing too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think genuinely liking to talk to people
Yeah.
will make you a far more approachable individual. I don't personally talk to anybody on LinkedIn or social media with the intent of getting anything out of them. I only look for individuals who I feel I could be a resource to, and
Mhm.
then I build the relationship with them. If it ends up going somewhere where we can work together, we can be a resource to one another, referral, whatever it is, fabulous. But I feel like if you're just going straight for the sale, that's
Yes.
the most unattractive approach, especially right now.
Oh yes.
but be showing genuine concern for your community, caring about, genuinely caring about the individuals that you're talking
Yeah.
to, and offering any kind of resource right now will really set you apart. So like you with that social media calendar, giving away free social media calendar, that's incredible. Let me tell you guys, social media marketing is it's a time killer at times. I say the word, did I just say the word times like 4 times, 5, now 6?
At least you didn't
Can,
say the word like. Like, how do I feel about this? Like,
oh man, it can be a time consuming thing. And so to have a calendar for, especially a free resource like that, that's super useful. Check that out on his website, guys. This is Michael Roach, michaelroachcreative.com. Michael, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I appreciate your allowing us to pick your brain on business and sharing all of that wealth of knowledge with all of the listeners here in New York, maybe beyond New York. And God bless you.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed the show, and thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Friday's Flavor. Hey, thanks for listening to Friday's Flavor. If you like what you heard, share and subscribe for more great content. Drop a comment below for a shout out in an upcoming midweek episode.